All right, hello and welcome to the RPG Academy podcast Twitch stream and YouTube channel. My name is Michael, and I'm here with my third attempt at a Marvel superhero character generation live chat stream thingy. The first time I started this, forgot to add audio because I'm dummy. I had to create a new scene to do this because I wanted the camera setup to be different than what I've been doing with the Final Fantasy Nintendo streaming. And just got ahead of myself, and I was all excited because it all looked good and worked and everything was where it was supposed to be, but I forgot to add audio. Also, my green screen's a little off. There we go. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that's off here. Let's see if, oh no, gotta go down. Yeah, so my apologies. I'm not a professional. So anyway, thank you Aeon Ashes for letting me know that audio wasn't working. It should be now. I did a quick little test and everything seems to be working. So if there is any issues now, it's probably due to my internet and or something on your side. So I'm just going to start over, go through. So I know I've mentioned this on the podcast many times. I don't know if it's come up on the stream necessarily, but the Marvel superhero game is the second RPG that I ever played. First was Dungeons and Dragons. This was quickly the second. And I still love comic books. I'm a comic book geek from long ago. Marvel superhero movies are some of my favorite. DC's not as much, but I like them. I don't dislike DC heroes. In fact, some of the DC heroes are some of my all-time favorite heroes. But general push comes to shove, I'm more of a Marvel kid than I was a DC kid. I don't know that this system is a great system, but I have a lot of fun playing it. I do some heavy tweaking, but it's fun. Pretty much for the last 3 years or so, I've been running a one-shot at conventions called Avengers Some Assembly Required. And the setup for this, which is not in any way related to Infinity War, is that half the Avengers have gone missing without explanation. So it's not the entire universe or even the planet, it's just the Avengers. Half of them have basically disappeared. No one knows where they are. The Avengers have not said anything explaining their absence, but people have started to notice, including criminals. So crime is on a bit of an uptick because there's not as many Avengers around to do as much about it. So the setup for the game is that our heroes are contacted by Captain America asking to try out to become an Avenger since they basically need the help. So that's the setup. The idea is that the heroes aren't going to be your top tier heroes. They're going to be B, maybe even C level heroes. So when you create characters randomly through the book's character generation, sometimes things don't make sense. That's totally cool. It's actually part of the fun if you get characters that don't really make a whole lot of sense. But we want them to be able to do something. It's not fun to play a superhero game if you literally have nothing that you can contribute if and when there might be a battle. I think there might be a fight in the game at some point. So I'll reserve the right to tweak things a little bit as we go. If something truly doesn't make sense or I just don't like it, I might re-roll or fudge the numbers up or down to the next level, that kind of thing. But for the most part, I'm going to try to follow the game as best I can, the rules for character generation. So I've got my trusty dice here. So this game is a percentile system. Almost everything you do in the game is percentile. There's very little other thing. I think character generation, you need a D6 or two, and I'll get those in a minute. But it's lovingly known or commonly known as the FASERIP system, FASERIP. And that has to do with the way that your character's abilities, basically your attributes. You have fighting, agility, strength, endurance, reason, intuition, and psyche. That's all right. There we go. FASERIP. So it's not FACE, it's FASE. And everything is given a ranking. So it starts from feeble, which is a 2, which I don't know if you can see those numbers. So everything has a text-based identifier. So feeble is 2, poor is 4, typical is 6, all the way up to amazing 50, unearthly 100, and then you have your shift columns. So what happens is sometimes you can do things in the game that allow you to shift. So you might have a remarkable strength, but because of something going on in the game, you get a plus shift column. So you would move up one column to incredible, or you might move down a column to excellent. So when you roll your dice, so I got a 62, I would come on this side, and you can basically find the 62 column, and then you go across until you hit your ability modifier or label, and you get a result of either white, green, yellow, or red. Usually white's a miss, green's usually a basic hit, yellow's kind of like a powerful hit, and red's a critical hit. There are a few exceptions to that, but that's 99% of the game. You do a set amount of damage based off of your power ranking. So if I hit you with an amazing blast, that's going to be 50 points of damage. If you have any armor, it subtracts from that based on how powerful it is. So if I have an amazing shield, then your amazing blast does nothing, 0, everything equals out. Anything above my armor, if I have any, is taken as damage. And then you can get knocked unconscious or even killed in the game. So we're going to turn to page 45, and this is the generating characters section. And I'm going to generate at least one. We're going to see kind of how things go from there, but ideally I would have 3 or 4 characters ready. I like for the players to create characters at the table, and usually this game, when I run it, lasts 3 hours or less. So a 4-hour slot at a convention, you usually have time. But it can get a little messy when people have no idea what they're doing. You got 4 people all trying to roll at the same time. And then it's, there's things in the book that are helpful to be able to read, but if I only have one copy of the book, which I do. So I like having a couple characters ready in case someone doesn't want to create their own character or they don't find that fun. It just kind of speeds the process up. So that's what these will be, is, backup just in case pre-gen characters. And I think it's fun to roll them, so we're going to roll them up. So the first thing you do when you generate a character in this game is you roll on your origins table. So you can see we have altered human, mutant, high-tech, robot, or alien. And each one of those has a bit of a paragraph, and it will give you some bonuses or penalties based on what it is. You might get more or less powers, more or less starting resources. You might be able to adjust some of your base stats. So we're going to take our trusty dusty dice here, give it a roll. Looks like a 95 to me, and that would be a robot. So we're going to flip over to the robot page. Robots are artificially created beings. They include robots, synthezoids, androids, life model decoys, and full cyborgs. Machine Man, Vision, and Deathlock are all robotic characters. Robots are unaffected by powers that affect the human mind or emotion, while subject to those that control machinery. Player character robots are assumed to have a self-repair circuitry that allows them to regain health in the normal fashion. So you basically, if you're a normal human, you heal. Robots can heal themselves. Robots have an initial popularity of 0. So unlike mutants, they do not suffer further in popularity because of their origin. Whoops. I don't think I read that sentence right, but basically they get a 0 popularity, but it doesn't go down. Mutants goes down. So potentially you could be below that, I think. There's no karma loss for killing a robot or allowing a robot to be deactivated. If killed, quote unquote, a robot is deactivated and can be reactivated by a reason feat against that robot's highest ability. If returned from the dead, a robot has 0 karma. Karma is it's like a resource that you gain from doing heroic things, and you can spend them in the game to affect your die rolls. So Aeon Ashes, at what dice am I rolling? I cannot think of the name. These are metal dice. I got them at Gen Con a couple of years ago. I think the company is MGD, Metal Gaming Dice or something. I'll see if I can find them, because I've been asked this before and for some reason I never can remember. I love these dice though. They're really hefty. They got a great weight to them. So these are my favorite dice to roll, except I'm a bit of a snob. I don't like their D6s. Their D6s I don't know, they're just a little too clunky for me. So anytime I roll a D6, I'm going to be rolling our Catacon dice, which just make me happy because Catacon, Oh, my apologies. I misunderstood. Yes, these are D10s because this is a percentile system. So this one, it basically has, 2, 0, 3, 0, 4, 0, but it's a 10-sided die. And then the other one is just straight 1 through 10. So with them, you can get a roll, for example, that's 61. No, it was my fault completely. Because people have asked me before who manufactures these dice because they like them. So that's, I assumed, and we know what that means. Okay, so for our first character, we now have a robot. And I'm just going to take notes here on my sheet of paper. I'll eventually transfer these over and make it look more pretty. All right. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is roll our base ability. So this is the FASERIP part. So again, we have fighting, agility, strength, endurance, reason, intuition, and psyche. So we're going to be rolling percentile for each of these. And there's a chart here in the book based on what we roll that gives us our ranking by name and number. So for fighting, got a 95. Rolling well with the dice so far. It will change, trust me. So 95 is the incredible 40 ranking. Second dice is a 35, which is a good of 10. So the agility is not very good. 34, so good strength. Now see, this is where you kind of get into a little bit of trouble with this game. You roll to hit with fighting, but you're going to do damage with strength unless you have an ability or like a talent like martial arts or something that changes that. So I'm really good at punching people right now, but I'm not strong enough to do a whole lot of damage. So that might be one where we have to go back and putz around with the results a little bit. 94, so high and low. So another incredible 40. To get to amazing, which the chart goes from feeble to amazing, so the highest you can get is amazing, which is a 97 or higher. 9. That is a poor 4. So my robot is not very smart. 28 for intuition, which is again a good 10. And then lastly, a 52, which is excellent, 20. All right, so we have our base abilities. These may get changed a little bit, so we'll discuss that in a minute. So you also have some derived stats. Your health is your FASE ability, so your fighting, agility, strength, and endurance all rolled together, which for me is 100. So my robot has 100 hit points. And then my karma is my reason, intuition, and psyche added together, which is 34. So I have 34 karma to start with, which again allows me to adjust my rolls in the middle of the game if I need to. So I need to roll on the random tanks for resources. So resources is basically how much money you have or your ability to get things if you need stuff. You roll on the same chart. That is a 34. Which is good 10. And then popularity. So popularity basically, honestly, I don't remember how that works in the game, but I'm sure it has something to do with how you're viewed by normal society and how likely you are to be attacked on the street if you're trying to be a hero. Because I'm a robot, as we saw earlier, my popularity starts at 0. All right. So now we get into our powers and our talents. So powers and talents are generated kind of in the same way. The first thing we're going to do is roll to see how many powers we get. At the low end is 2, at the high end is 5. Certain origins adjust that up or down. I believe mutants get additional, and aliens maybe get additional or subtraction. One or the other, I don't know. If we come along one, I'll read it. But basically, I'm going to get between 2 and 5 powers. Let's roll. That is an 18, which is 2 powers. And then the next thing we do is we're going to determine each power, what category of power it's in, and then we will get some more specifics on there. So Gygar68 jumped in, says never liked this game. Always rolled bad characters and preferred Mayfair's DC Heroes game. I played DC Heroes as well. Thought it was okay. I started at the beginning of this. You may have just jumped in. I don't know this is a great system, but I love it. It's just got a nostalgia factor for me. I really enjoy playing this game. Yes, character generation is wonky. You can often get some really bad characters. Oops. Sorry, trying to adjust my camera here. Cameras or characters that don't really make a whole lot of sense, but I love them all the more for that. So hopefully you'll stick around, even if this isn't your preferred game. Again, part of what we're doing here now is rolling some characters that aren't supposed to be great. They're supposed to be B and C level. Okay, so anyway, so for our first power, 98. And I think you can kind of see those on there. So that is a I can't talk. Body alterations defense power. Yeah, this was my second ever RPG ever, right after basic D&D back in the 80s. So then you can see, so on this chart, again, we have all the different types of powers. And then it breaks it down into another chart where each one is broken down more specifically. So under body alterations defense, we will roll a single D10, and that will determine which power we have. I rolled a 9. So 9 is life support. All right, and then you can go to that breakdown, and it'll tell us kind of what that means. If I remember, I think this means like you don't need to breathe, you can fly in outer space, fly underwater, that kind of stuff. Okay. Life support. The hero can survive without air and water for protracted periods of time. The power is always at least one rank greater than the hero's endurance, which my endurance is incredible 40, which is great. The life support power rank number is the number of turns the hero can survive in a hostile environment, such as a volcano, before needing to make an endurance feat to survive. So I still roll to see how powerful that power is, but because of that particular power, if I roll less than incredible 40, then it's at least one higher. So, and the highest I can get is amazing, so I don't even really need to roll because I can't get higher than that. So our life support is at, was it amazing? Yep, amazing 50. So far our character is really good at punching, but it's really weak, can't do any damage, and can survive basically anything. So they're indestructible in some ways, not from blast, but like they can live in a volcano, live underground, underwater, and life in outer space, but they can't hurt anybody. All right, so now we got to roll for our second power. So hopefully we'll get something we can attack with. And that is a 14, and that is movement powers. So we go to our movement powers, we roll our D10, we get a 2, flight. So we have a robot that's not very smart, really good at fighting, not good at hurting people, and I can fly. So we go to the movement power section, we go to flight. The hero with this power can move through the air under its own power. The method of flight is left to the player to describe for their hero. It may include rocket belts, natural wings, mental powers, etc. The hero flies at an airspeed equal to its power rank. So we will once again roll to see how powerful this ability is. And we get a 5, feeble 2. So yeah, Gygar 68. This is probably the type of characters you rolled back in the 80s, huh? Okay, so we have 2 powers. We have life support and we have flight. I'm thinking we're going to ditch flight because it doesn't really fit anything else. And I want something that this character can do to do some sort of damage. The life support could be cool. There are some interesting ways I could come out and play in the game. So I'm fine with that one, but I think I want to reroll flight and see if I can get at least some sort of attacking ability. So we're going to kibosh flight, and we're going to change that to mental powers. All right. It could be vision. Vision sort of has mental powers, right? So then we'll roll our single D10. That's a 7. Plant control. Now we've got a character we can have some fun with. So we're going to move to mental abilities. There we go. Plant control. The hero has the ability to control plants and is capable of making them perform unplant-like behavior, like move, grow, and attack others. The hero can control up to all plants in one area. Areas are actually defined in the game. It's like, I don't know, it's like a 20 by 20 foot or something. It's like an area that you can move through. The plants can attack with their material strength of damage, as well as perform fighting and strength feats. The character with plant control can also attempt to mind control sentient plants, as noted for mind control above. The control lasts for as long as the hero concentrates. So we need to roll to see how powerful this ability is. 99! There we go. So we have plant control at amazing. All right. So the last thing we need to do is we have talents. And talents are things that you can do sometimes outside of combat, though there are a few exceptions. So some of the examples are tumbling, medicine, law enforcement, espionage, piloting, architecture, computers. And if you're doing a feat test, which is like the kind of like rolling against the DC in 5th edition type of thing, you get a bonus, like a column shift. So if you're trying to do something with science and it happens to be chemistry related and you have training in chemistry, then you get bonuses to that. There are a couple talents that involve martial arts, which will allow you to do damage with your fighting score instead of your strength. So I'm going to roll my talents first. If I get a talent that lets that happen, then I'm going to leave my stats the way they are. If I don't, I'm probably going to either re-roll or switch my strength just so that this character could actually punch somebody and do some damage. So first of all, we roll to see how many talents we get. So similar to powers, there's a little list here. It goes from 1 to 4 based on how many you roll. That is a 40. Again, I think you can see those. And 40 is 2 talents. And then we have another big list that we roll on. So that is a 65. 65 is photography. So our plant robot, obviously this was like an automated camera that like a photographer was using, capturing nature. Then if something happened and it gained sentience, at least that's where I'm at so far. So we'll add photography on here. And that is a 63. And that's journalism. So basically our robot is Peter Parker if Peter Parker was a robot who couldn't fight and could control plants. All right, so I'm going to re-roll my strength just to see if I can get it. And basically I'm not going to let it be less than excellent. So I at least want this thing to be able to punch people if it needs to, because this is a fighting game after all. So that's a 60. So basically, yeah, that would make it a 30. All right, that gives me 20 more hit points or health points. So there we go. Probably will leave naming conventions open to anybody who chooses this character, but I'll throw it out to chat. I've got a few people hanging out. What would be a good name for this plant controlling fighting robot journalist, photojournalist? While you're thinking, maybe a couple people throw some things out, I'm going to see if I can find something a little higher that I can roll on to make it a little easier for you to be able to see these dice rolls. I need something that's kind of, so pardon me as I step away just for a second. There we go. That seems clear enough. Okay. So I know there's a bit of a delay in chat, so no one has thrown out any name ideas yet. So I'll wait just a second, and then we'll start on our second character. Hopefully, this is fun for you as it is for me. I would be open to trying to do a little bit more interactive stuff if some of you want to roll a number or throw out a number and I'll use that instead. That would be fine by me. Oh, sorry, my apologies. Okay. Ow, I just hurt myself under my table. So I have can't move my chair now. I have a little thing with names. At this point, I have one name that I use over and over. Like if I'm playing in a one shot, then I name my character almost always the same exact thing. And I almost always give myself a nickname based on the game that we're playing, my abilities, the setting. And the name I give is almost meaningless because I'm almost always going to go by the nickname. NPCs I'm not great at naming unless I take my time, maybe do some Google searching. But like it's one of my biggest weaknesses as a DM is trying to come up with names on the fly that make any sort of sense. So I'm with you there. And again, if someone does end up playing this character at a convention, they're going to get to name it themselves. But I'd be happy to add one. This is a suggestion if someone has a good one. All right, so we're going to switch dice. Still D10s, but I'm going to go to my blue set, and we're going to try it again. Before I'm happy to explain as much of this as you would like. And I'll throw it out. If anyone is watching this for the first time, who've never watched me before or know anything about what I do, once again, my green screen's all messed up. Sergeant Nursery. Okay, I love it. Sergeant Nursery, it is. So primarily we're a podcast. We've been podcasting almost 9 years. We have hundreds of episodes. A lot of our episodes are focused on trying to help people start playing RPGs, primarily D&D, but not always just D&D. Basic DM theory, that kind of stuff. But we have some actual plays as well. And I have an actual play of Marvel with my own twist on it. If you're interested and you want to listen to it, it's a one shot. It's super silly, but it's a lot of fun. It was my first time ever playing with adding sound effects. So there's like a robot in it, and I went in and I added all these like robotic sound effects. It's so dumb, but it makes me smile. So if you're interested, go to the rpgacademy.com and you can search for a Marvel superhero, and I think it should come up. I might throw the link in at the end when we're done here. All right, so we're gonna roll our second character. So once again, the first thing we look for is our origin. If I were to roll the same thing as a robot, I would switch it up just because I want to do a little bit different. So 96 is actually an alien. So this character is not of this world. And aliens. So aliens is a blanket term that covers creature from elsewhere. Other civilization, planets, or dimensions. Inhumans, Atlanteans, Asgardians, Kree, Skrulls, Eternals, and all other creatures and races that are not of this earth are aliens. When creating an alien character in the basic game, the judge will assume he is or her as a race that we have not encountered. Aliens add 10 to their dice rolls for initial abilities. So they're going to have a lot more, on average, they're going to be more powerful because they have this plus 10 bonus. Aliens have one less power than rolled. Alien abilities can either be natural or the result of technology, much like high-tech wonders. If the player decides that his ability is common to all of his race, then he or she gets a +1 column shift to that ability. However, the judge can then use critters from his home planet that also have that ability. All right. So Aeon Ashes, thank you. You have listened to that as well as some of our others. It is still one of my favorite one-shots. It's pretty short, but it cracks me up. In particular, the nature of this game, somebody's power was like feeble. They basically talked like a normal human. That was their ability. They had a sonic attack at human level, and it just cracks me up so much. We actually started to record a sequel to that, got partway through it, and one of my players had a completely unrelated like anxiety attack, and the game just died halfway through, so we never released any of it, which is sad because the second one was going in some weird places too. It was quite fun. But you gotta take care of people. That's more important. But there's still a part of me that's like, I wish that was still around. All right, so we have an alien. So now we're going to roll for our abilities. So again, we have our FASERIP. So fighting, agility, strength, endurance, reason, intellect, and psyche. And remember, we add 10 to all of these rolls. So first roll, I knew that was going to happen. 92, which is 102, which makes that an amazing 50. So once again, really good at fighting, but hopefully we got some strength with this one. All right, agility. That is a 60, which makes it a 70. So that's a remarkable 30. Here we go. Strength, 45, which becomes a 55, which doesn't actually change the result. 20. 59, which becomes 69, which is a remarkable 30. 50, which becomes a 60, was excellent 20. 42, which becomes a 52, excellent 20. And lastly, 88, which becomes a 98, which becomes an amazing 50. Okay, so again, for our health, we add all these up. So that's 80, 130, 50, 70, and 90 karma to start. Our resources, I don't know why I did that over there. 57, I don't think we increased that by 10, so I'm not going to. Excellent 20. And popularity, whoops, 46, excellent 20. All right. So now we're to how many powers we have. Again, we subtract 1, but if I only end up with 1, I'm going to, so minimum is going to be for 2, because I just don't think 1 power is going to be any fun. 64, which would be 4, so that's going to be 3 powers. All right. So I'm going a little bit faster this time, so if I'm going too fast, please someone let me know, or if you have any questions. I just feel like if you've watched to this point, you kind of know how that works. All right, so our first power is a body alterations offense. And so we go to that list and we roll a 9. Claws. Claws is a popular one. 3 of the numbers, so you roll a d10, 3 of the options is claws. So Wolverine was really popular in the 80s, right? All right, so body alterations offense. Claws. The hero can make edged attacks against targets for up to power rank, damage, or strength, whichever is less. So strength is still, it can bring you down. This character's strength is 20, which isn't great. The hero cannot choose lesser effects while using claws. The power rank of this power is also the material strength of the claws to determine how effective they are against other materials. So we're going to roll to see how powerful our claws are. 74, remarkable 30. Okay, so this is a separate character. So we've jumped on. This is now a new character. That is an alien who has claws. I want to do 3 or 4 characters. I'll probably do 3. I don't know how long this will stay interesting to people, but we shall see. All right, so our second power, 53, is body control powers. So once again, we now roll a d10 on that list. 3, invisibility. All right, here we go. Body control, invisibility. Where are we at? Oh, no. Invisibility. The hero of this power can make the body invisible to normal sight. The power does not negate location by other senses. But all attacks against the invisible character are at a -4 column shift. In addition, all attacks by an invisible character that a hero cannot see are considered blind sighting attacks, which I'm sure there's rules about that, but I don't remember them. So apparently we don't need a level for that. They just have invisibility. I'm gonna go ahead and roll just in case, because I'm not 100% sure. There might be like a way people can see, but they're like, just in case there's a comparison we have to do. So I rolled a 59, so that is remarkable. Nope, 59 is excellent 20. And I don't know if I covered this, but these are all the different power categories. So we have resistances, sensory powers, movement powers, matter control powers, energy control powers, body control powers, ranged attacks, mental powers, and then body alterations offense and body alterations defense. All right, so here's our third power. We already have claws and invisibility. let's see. Our last power is a ranged attack power. So this character actually could be useful. Like this one could actually contribute to maybe an Avengers B level team. We'll see. So ranged attack powers, we're going to roll on our little table here. We got a 1. Projectiles. Okay. So I'm kind of getting a Darkhawk vibe. Not, I guess Darkhawk isn't an alien, but I think it's an alien technology. Claws, projectiles. I'm not sure if invisibility is one of their powers. I don't remember. Haven't read that comic book in a very long time. So, ranged attack powers. Projectiles. The most common form of projectile attack is a gun, usually a specialized attack. Though there are other forms, including quills, daggers, and other thrown objects. The projectiles have power rank range and may have the shooting, throwing edge, or throwing blunt damage of the power rank. Ability to hit is determined by the attacker's agility, which for us is 30. And that would be a 36. Good. So, okay. So this alien has very good natural abilities. Just sort of. So I guess maybe a predator. I guess it's like kind of like the predator, right? Visibility, got claws, projectiles. I think we just rolled up the predator, but we can't call him the predator, so we'll have to name something that's like hunter or something like that. Now I wouldn't categorize their abilities sort of like bard spells, wizard spells, because they're too general like that. But it's kind of hard to explain. It's definitely a comic book, so I don't think there's any really good comparison between like spell lists and these power abilities. I think they're just too general and too specific against each other. Yeah, I think launching these claws could be cool. Like they refill themselves, so you launch your claws, but then they come back, or maybe they literally come back, or they regrow. So let's do talents, and this second one went pretty fast. I think we'll do one more. And then, I'll leave it up to you who are hanging out with me if you want to do more or do something else. Again, we could do like a group one. Everybody take turns. We'll see. So that is an 89. That is 3 talents. So talent number 1 is an 81. Computers. Okay. Talent 2 is a 57. Multilingual. And 60 leadership. Okay, so it's like a predator, but in a suit with claws, maybe? I don't know. All right, alien. I'm put hunter for now, but again, I'm open to a better name for our alien superhero. Whoops. All right, and we'll do one more, and then we'll open things up if anybody else wants to contribute. So now we're going to mix things up, so I'm going to use a combination of blue and green dice, because that will make a difference, right? Okay, so one more time, we're going to start with our origin. This time it will not be robot or alien. 22, that is an altered human. So this basically is like Captain America. Altered humans are everyday folk who have been exposed to cosmic rays, gamma bombs, magical forces, radioactive spiders, and the like, and the results are that they are now more than human. Altered humans are fairly common in the heroic community, at least, and most typical of superpowered heroes. Altered humans can use technological devices like a shield, but the majority of their powers come from within, like the Fantastic Four's abilities. Players can choose to create altered humans as heroes. Can raise one of their major abilities after the roles are complete. So of your FASERIP, one of them we can choose to raise 1 rank. Going back to our alien, actually, I forgot to remember their powers. If we choose that all of their species or all of their race have the same one, we can raise them. So why wouldn't we do that, right? So we're going to make the claws incredible 40 and the projectiles excellent 20. And we'll just assume that a whole bunch of those things will be coming for us. Mr. Hunter. I like adding Mr. Adds an air of respectability to them. Okay, so Altered Human, so just remind me, we get to raise one of our ability scores by 1 if we choose. All right, hold on. So we got to do our FASERIP. And just for your edification, the other options on our list that we have not rolled yet would be Mutant and High Tech. So X-Men or Iron Man would be the only other options we haven't got to yet. $88, incredible 40. I do really well in those first rolls. I think every character so far, yeah, it's been a 40 or a 50 on their first roll, and then it generally goes downhill. That would be a 1. Correct. It could be Mrs. Hunter. So our agility is feeble 2. Yeah, yikes. 44 would be excellent 20. 47 is excellent 20. 13, typical. 6. 88 is incredible 40. And then 68 is remarkable 30. So I'm just going to reroll that agility. I'm going to take DM fiat here. Even if I raised it with my 1 ability to a 4, that's still like not even up to normal human standards. 72, a little better. That gives us a remarkable 30. Okay. And then I'm going to use my one-time power. Yeah, I rolled a 1. I'm going to raise the fighting to amazing 50. So I think this will be very much Captain America in my head right now. Just super good at fighting. Strength isn't great, but will have some sort of power that will be able to affect that. So that's 120 health and 76 karma. Resources is remarkable 30. And popularity, 99. All right, there we go. Other side is amazing 50. So definitely got some Captain America vibes going right now. The high-tech one is actually really cool. It's one of my favorite to roll also because very much you can make Iron Man. Like if you end up getting, or you have some choosing you can do. Let's say you take body armor. You can basically create Iron Man where all of your other abilities go into that body armor. So you actually have 2 different stats. You have your FASERIP in your normal form, and you have FASERIP inside of your robot or your armor, that kind of thing, which is cool because then it makes you like Iron Man. But then what happens if you're not in your suit? Then you have a whole different set of problems, which can be fun to play. All right, so now we roll our powers. Again, I don't know why I'm rolling over here. I brought these over here for a reason. 32 is 3 powers. All right, so we'll roll to see which one we get first. That is a 13, movement powers. So our options here is flight, which we've already had 1 character. There's also gliding, leaping, wall crawling, lightning speed, levitation, swimming, climbing, and teleportation. Though teleportation has an asterisk by it, which I believe means it counts as 2 powers. So if we roll teleportation, that counts as 2. And we did. We rolled a teleportation. So let's see what that does. Double check. Teleportation. This power counts as 2 choices or rolls. Teleportation is the ability to move instantaneously from place to place without passing through the area or solid objects. The power rank indicates how far the hero can teleport. Upon arrival, the hero makes a power feat. Upon a successful feat, the hero can act the same round they teleport. Otherwise, they are confused and disoriented for 1d10 game turns. If the hero teleports into a solid object, they take damage equal to twice the object's material strength and is then randomly teleported away and will be disoriented for 1 to 10 rounds. So powerful ability, but it's pretty severe drawbacks at the same time. So teleportation is at a 46, which is excellent 20. And that counts as 2 of our powers, so we only have 1 left. 58 ranged attack powers. And our ranged attack powers are projectiles, ensnarement, ice, fire, energy, force, sound, stunning, slashing, and then acid corrosive. Oh. 8. Stunning. The hero has a stunning attack that can be used at a distance. The attack is effective up to power rank range, but does not inflict normal damage. Instead, it causes the target to make an endurance feat against the intensity of the attack or pass out for 1d10 turns. So they can just hit and then you go down for 10 turns, which is basically out of a fight in this game. So let's see how powerful this is. This could be like a knockout punch, or it could just be like a featherweight gust of wind knocking you over. 96. That is an incredible 40. Stunning attack. So the first character was pretty worthless, but funny. The second two could actually be useful in a fight, which is kind of cool. All right, so last we got to do is our talents, and then we will be done with these. So we have 2 talents. First one is demolition. And blunt weapons. I'm gonna re-roll that one. That doesn't make sense. This character, nothing we do has blunt weapons going on, so that seems silly. Electronics. All right, so I can kind of start to formulate kind of a backstory for this character. They were in demolitions. They know how to use electronics. Maybe they were in a blast that hurt them. They were taken to a lab, saved. Maybe they were making a bomb with unusual components, not quite gamma bomb, but similar to that. And the radiation from that bomb, or damage done to them, caused them to teleport away. I don't know. We can think about it. So again, if anybody has any names that they think for our teleporting, stunning electrician, I don't know. Certified electrician maybe works for me. Let me know. But I think for the most part, that's probably going to do it. Again, if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to try to answer them. Again, I have not actually read these rules in a very long time. I run my own version of it, which isn't too different, but I allow for more team ups. That's one of the big rules I've instituted, is that you can team up your powers together. So like in that one shot that we ran, one character had like wind control power, so one character would throw a weapon and then the other one would blast it with their wind power, and I'd let them combine their abilities so that it was actually a strong enough attack to do damage against the foes that they were fighting, which I don't think there's anything in the book that's supposed to do that, but it makes sense to me. It's a superhero game. There certainly should be team ups, that kind of thing. The other book, just quickly, is the campaign book. And this is basically a list of all of the NPCs, including heroes and villains. So we have, Archangel, Cannonball, Cloak, Dagger, Hulk, Mr. Fantastic, Namorita, Spider-Man, Vision. Then we have our bad guys, Dr. Octopus, Dreadnoughts, Electro, Madcap. So 90% of the time of me playing this as a kid is we would just roll random characters and then just pit them one at a time against everybody in the campaign book just to see how far they would get. They usually didn't get very far, mostly because when you go to the bad guy section, one of the first bad guys is Abomination, which is a Hulk level villain. And if you roll randomly, you don't usually get a Hulk level hero. So they probably wouldn't make it by Abomination if you're going alphabetical. So this is not my original copy. I bought these at Half Price Books. You can still see the sticker. It looks like it's $4 each for the 2 books. It did come with, like inside of it, it had this power wheel, which the other half is somewhere. I have to find it. But as I was showing earlier in the in the video, this is how the game works: is you roll your numbers, you line up your roll versus your power level, and it gives you a result of green, yellow, red, or white. Well, this is a power wheel, kind of does the same thing. There's a top part to it that you you staple or pinwheel, and you can spin it. And so you spin your dial so that you're under remarkable, and then it will show you what the 3 level or 4 levels results are based on what you roll. Whoever had the book before me made this. I don't know where the template came from. I had never seen it before, but it was kind of cool. I apparently have lost it in one of my times running this game. But anyway, if you ever are at a convention that I'm at, look for me. I very likely will be running this as a one-shot. If you're anywhere near Dayton, Ohio in November and the coronavirus spares us, we're going to try to have our convention again this year. Usually it's in November in Dayton, Ohio. Still hopeful that we'll be able to have it this year, but I will definitely be there. If not running this, I'll definitely be running something. And if you thought this was a good video, please let me know. I usually don't do the whole like, subscribe thing, but if you're watching this on YouTube later, like and subscribe. We do a lot of random stuff on this Twitch channel. Usually I play old Nintendo games like the original Final Fantasy, which I'm about halfway through. We do some campaigns every other week. We do some live, just hanging out, goofing off shows. Occasionally we do other things. So if anything I've talked about sounded interesting or fun, consider subscribing or just following. You don't have to subscribe. It doesn't cost you any money. And hang out with us when we do this in the future. But for those of you that were hanging out with me today, Aeon Ashes, Gygar68, I think the Foxblade was in there for a little bit as well. Thank you. I really enjoy the talking part of this with you as much as anything else. So hanging out makes things better for me. So hopefully it makes it more entertaining for you. Yeah, if you're in the Northwest, Dayton, Ohio is a really long way to go. But hey, things happen. Things change. If you happen to be in Dayton, Ohio in November, I'm sorry. But, there's a good convention there, or hopefully there will be. Currently, I am planning on going to Origins and Gen Con, but again, who knows if they're actually going to happen or not. So if any of you go to those, let me know as well. So with that, we're going to go ahead and sign off. But once again, thank you, everybody, and we'll talk soon.